The race to find the country's next National Director of Public Prosecutions is facing a legal hurdle. There's a pending legal challenge seeking to interdict this process. Earlier this month, a panel held interviews with 6 candidates and submitted its report to the President. Attorney Barnabas Xulu, whose firm filed the application, joins us live now for more. A very good evening to you, Mr. Xulu, and thank you so much for your time. Firstly, what are you objecting to?
Good evening, Ms. Zwane. Our objection, in fact, is contained in our application which has been filed. It's the objection that directly deals with the issue of the process that was followed. That we are saying there were procedural defects in that there was no integrity, or the integrity of the process is challenged, as well as the fairness of the process is challenged in that one of the objections which were made by our firm that were specifically dealing with the objections against Advocate Cronje were never favored to Advocate Cronje in all respects. What was expected is that that objection was supposed to be given to her, as we have filed the objection in time, was supposed to be given to her to provide the written responses. After providing the written responses, he was then supposed to be subjected to public scrutiny on the objections, like it has happened with the other objections. But in this case, that did not happen. So we're challenging the procedural fairness or the defectiveness of the procedure.
All right. So it all centers around Advocate Cronje, right? No other part of the process you have an issue with?
Well, I mean, if such an unfairness has occurred, it basically taints the entire process, unless they can show us how to cure the process as it stands.
And
now we have written to the state. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have written to the Minister of Justice asking for the rectification of this process that is defective on the face of it. We have never received any reply. So our only resort was to go to court for the matter to be properly adjudicated. But on the face of it, we're not going to talk about what actually happened behind the closed doors. We're talking about what we have seen and what is recorded, how the process unfolded, that there was no fairness, there was no integrity in it, because the other candidates were not, they were subjected to a kind of questioning that Advocate Cronje was protected from by merely not giving her what she was supposed to be receiving before she even attends the interview. So that deviated.
Pardon me. I want to get to the department in just a moment, but let's stay with something that you said, because there are some who are viewing this particular move by your firm as one that, you know, it details the history that you and her, your firm and her share. And I say this because part of the objection, you were saying that she's being accused of unlawful information peddling and also sharing confidential state information with external parties during her tenure as the head of ID at the time. And then also when she responds, she talks about how she was part of a seizure application where your firm was said to have been involved. So others are viewing this as you then having a personal gripe against her. How do you respond to those?
As I've said from the beginning of this interview, this is not personal. And that is why, you see, if this was not supported by any form of evidence, you could speculate and say so. We're very clear, the papers are there, they are very clear. We're talking about the process that was not followed. The only resistance to this challenge is to provide and say, she was preferred not to be given, but others should have been given. So what is very clear here is that this is a very serious office, and a powerful office for that matter. When the process is defective, there should be no silence. We are operating under the Constitution in this country. There is Section 179 that talks about the independence of this office. So the moment we can identify the flaws in the process, we're entitled as the public, as having been invited by the advisory process. The matters that are being introduced by whoever have got nothing to do with the process that we are currently challenging at the moment. And we cannot try and use this to adjudicate matters that have to be adjudicated in different forums. This is about the process. We're invited to provide the objection. If our objection was defective, we should have been informed.
So I want us to listen to what the department has to say, particularly when it comes to the legal challenge that you've now lodged. And then after you've listened to the department, I'd like to hear your response.
The department has received an urgent application seeking to interdict the appointment of the National Director of Public Prosecutions. The papers are under consideration, and in line with court rules, the department intends to oppose the application on the basis that it does not meet the requirements for urgency and is premature, as the President is still considering the advisory panel's report, which assessed all inputs in respect of all candidates interviewed.
Your response?
My response is, this is not premature. It is common cause that at the end of January, the new NDPP should be taking over that position. And that's the reason why these interviews were held before that period expires. Now, if the presidency or any of these parties with the powers vested in them can inform us that in January there will be no decision, maybe the decision to appoint will take place next year, we can then follow the queue. We should not be treated special. The only reason why this matter is brought on urgent basis is because there's an imminent decision which may be made based on the flawed process.
And
a process that lacks integrity, process that lacks fairness and transparency.
so when you look at the work of the advisory panel, right, it actually is just that, an advisory panel. Ultimately, the decision is that of the president, with others then saying that this is a panel that, may just file its own report. We don't know what's contained in it. They've submitted it to the president. He may just seek to go a different route altogether. And some will argue that if he goes a different route altogether, so why then would he then find, your application with merit, because he still has not even applied his mind? If someone is thinking like that tonight and says that, how do you contend with that argument?
That would be a flawed thinking in law, because the foundation, when you make invitation of other parties to participate, that process needs to be fair itself. You should not wait for a situation where you have now to rely on different procedures to unpack or to unseat the final decision. We are entitled right now to make this challenge. We're entitled right now to make this challenge, and the president cannot rely on a defective procedure, because the other candidates, as I say, those are the facts of what is defective about this process. Objections were raised, they were scrutinized. They started by making responses in writing. And in fact, even Advocate Cronje, with regards to the other objection, she has received them. It's only this one dealing with our firm that has never reached her.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is a pattern of some sort, which is not a comfortable pattern in a fair process.
All right. Thank you so much.
We are saying...
Pardon me, you were saying?
No, I'm saying, if we're saying, in respect of all objections, the candidates did not receive, then you say, look, there's nothing wrong with the process then, because there was equal treatment.
All right.
Failure to have equal treatment, then there's bias. lack of integrity.
All right, let's see then what happens with this one, and if at all the matter does get heard, when and how then does it begin then to proceed forward. But thank you so much for talking to us, and we'll continue, of course, to monitor this developing story. I appreciate your time. That's attorney Barnabas Xulu there speaking to us about the legal challenge that has now been launched against the process to appoint a new National Director of Public Prosecutions.